Anne, when you've been working with with directors directly, for example, with the director of Like the Night, I know you had a lot of freedom with that particular project. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that process?
Um, yeah, I had a huge amount of freedom. I had pretty much no no boundaries, which can be kind of which can sometimes be kind of worse actually, because you know when you can do anything, it's just like, well, where do I even start? But um, it was really just all about enhancing this kind of nighttime story. The thing that was good that I did have though was the fact that the director knew that he wanted to use Byron's poem as the center of the piece. So, I read out the poem, and we did quite a few different takes, and found out that what he really wanted was a very flat delivery, a kind of a rhythmic but extremely flat with no expression whatsoever. And so once we settled on the voice recording, that kind of gave me a starting point, gave me the rhythm of the piece and the tempo, which was then a place to start from. And yeah, I guess I just took a lot of inspiration from the pictures. I initially had a lot of just stills, because it was shot all around the world over quite an extended amount of time. It was from Cape Town to LA to New Orleans to Berlin to all over the show. Um, so I was just kind of trying to be inspired really by the still images to start with, and a lot of the edits really came later. And initially they started fitting the edit more to the music, and then we started actually working together. So then I was kind of doing because I find that I work best when I actually have a full edit, because I can then decide how I want the transitions to work and things. But it's really enjoyable also when you're working in a way where you almost working in tandem with the editor and the director in terms of the whole process. But yeah, I knew that I kind of wanted to be contemporary. I knew that I wanted to be something really different from what I'd had a chance to do before. I wanted it to be beautiful still, but with a lot of some distortion, a lot of kind of like a juxtaposition of really beauty and darkness, I guess. So I started with some rhythms. I started with kind of subtle beats that it developed from, and then it just took its own life from there, really. But it's very rare to be working on a project as long as I worked on that one. And actually, the MS, the other piece that's been doing really well, was also a longer process. But they're both quite long by advertising standards. They're both cinema commercials rather than TV commercials. Due to their length, they're both about 2.5-3 minutes long. But yeah, freedom's a good thing. Sometimes too much freedom can be difficult, as I'm sure everyone agrees with. But it was a lovely process. There were times when I wasn't sure what I was doing with it and where it was exactly going to go. But you just kind of wander in the woods for a while, and then you get out of it at the end. And sometimes you don't quite know how you ended up there.
I'm sure we've all had that feeling at some point.
Yeah.
How does that compare to something like the L'Oreal Cheryl Cole, or Cheryl whatever her name is now, campaign, which was working with a music production house, I believe? Or was that directly with the advertising agency?
That was with a producer that I've known for a long time, who then introduced me to the director. We worked on quite a lot of campaigns actually together, a lot of things for Asia, for SK2, after the L'Oreal, kind of around the same time. That they had a I don't know how people feel about temp tracks, but on that one they had a classical temp track that they really liked, that I kind of took the flavour from, really. the I find the temp track stuff tricky sometimes. Like I often, if I feel like I can, I will not listen to the temp track until when I feel like I kind of know where I'm going. Obviously, I need to know the brief and I need to kind of have a sense of understanding of what they're after. But I think sometimes it can be tricky to. It can be quite easy to start second guessing yourself and how close or how far, or how you should kind of really respond to the track that they've been listening to and are probably fairly in love with. So I find that sometimes if you can, for me it's beneficial to actually hold back and then kind of evaluate, go, okay, so how is what I'm doing working better or worse, or in a kind of achieving the same kind of things as what's obviously working for them. But with that one, yeah, we I don't know how many people were pitching for that one, but I kind of did my own take on the vibe, but I did keep very much in that. I stayed in that area of the reference. I also think that for L'Oreal, it's Cheryl Cole. Well, Cheryl, is she Tweedy again now? I don't know, but yeah, it's they're not. It wasn't something that you do something crazy on, and also I think what they were referencing was working. So thought, well, I kind of get what they're after.